Hi, it is June 8th and this is the 8th day of my juice fast. Yesterday I talked about making a vegetable broth, and this is known as an electrolyte balancing broth. And that means it has those minerals in that we need on a regular basis: potassium, magnesium, and actually I think it's because of the beets, it has a little bit of iron as well. So I've already pre-chopped all of my vegetables, and I've got one potato, about a cup or so of carrots, and then beets, and then I just threw a little cabbage in for a little extra flavor. This could have mushrooms. Mushrooms is a really good thing to add. I avoid adding onions and garlic. Some people say that they cloud your heightened awareness during the fast, and so that's why I decided not to include those. So I'm just going to take these vegetables and I'm going to go ahead and put them in this pot that I have here. Well, I'm going to try not to make a mess. And then it pretty much fills up this pot. And I'm going to cover all of these vegetables with good water. This is good bottled water. I'm just going to go ahead and fill this up. This will give me enough juice for broth, for a couple of days. So I've covered that up. Now what I'm going to do is put this onto high and bring this whole pot up to a boil. And then as soon as the pot is boiling, it starts to boil, I'm going to cover it and put this whole thing on simmer for 30 minutes. When that timer goes off, I'm going to turn the stove off, and it's just going to sit there for another 30 minutes. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to leach out all of the goodness that is in these vegetables. So we'll talk more about that as we get to those different segments. So here they go. They're boiling, almost. Okay, so it's been a half hour since I've started boiling the broth, and I'm now going to just turn it off, and it's going to rest here for another 30 minutes. I'm just going to show you what it looks like. There's a little bit of steam coming off, of course, and it's just a really light color in there. That's a light broth color. It's slightly red because of the beets, but I'm going to leave the lid on for the next 30 minutes so that it can continue to leach out all of the good minerals that are in there. So we'll come back in another 30 minutes and you'll see the difference in how the broth has gotten a little thicker. And then comes the straining and the filtering. So we'll get into that process in a little bit. Okay, so it's been another 30 minutes that the vegetables have been sitting in warm water. The stove has been turned off, and I'm just going to go ahead and check on them. And the broth is just a little bit darker, but the vegetables are all looking like they've had significant time and leached out all the good stuff. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this broth, and I need to take all of the vegetables out. So we're going to go, I'm just going to bring this strainer here. I'm going to just pour this on here, so I'll just do a little bit. This might get a little messy. So I'm just going to do the best I can to strain these out. Now, once I'm done straining out all these vegetables, you can see that a lot of the color is cooked out of them and that the broth is really red. And you wouldn't want to give these to anybody to eat. Well, first of all, none of them were peeled or anything, but it's because all of the nutrients are cooked out. If you actually gave these to somebody, these vegetables to somebody to eat, it would actually cause their body to do a lot of work and get no nutrition out of it. So the best place for these is a compost pile. And if you don't have that, then you can just dispose of it as you see fit. Okay, a few other tools that I'm going to need to finish this process and get this broth to be stored for later is a measuring cup and a very fine mesh strainer. This is actually a coffee filter, but it's extremely fine because I don't want to have any sediment or any of the vegetables in there. We just want it to be clear broth. So I'll be taking some of this really warm broth, and I'm going to, good heavens, this is really hot. I'm going to take this very carefully and pour some into this. Oh, for the love. Ow, this is warm. Pour some of this in here. This is making me a little nervous. I'm going to grab a ladle. This is a little crazy, but okay, so I'm going to grab a ladle and I'm going to go ahead and just ladle it through here. Now, it may not be obvious, or you can't see it with from where you are, but there may be some sediment still in here, and I just want to filter that all out. This may seem extra labor intensive, but it's definitely worth it. Okay, once I've got a little bit of that in there, I'll rinse that out in a little bit. Then I'll take that and just pour it into a container to save for later. Because most of this is going to get refrigerated. I'll definitely have some of this tonight, but there's way too much for me to consume right now. You can see it's really red, and it's so funny, when I first started making it, I thought, wow, it's my broth. I haven't had this broth in years, and the smell of it just took me right back to the first time I had it. So that amount should probably fill about up to half of here, and that'll be enough for a couple days. Now, I could drink as much of this broth every day as I wanted to, but you can only take so much broth each and every day. So I'll have a nice cup of it now. It's always best fresh. And just a couple things. Don't salt and pepper, and don't season it with other things. It should just be a plain broth. And I forgot a key ingredient. It's not going to be the end of the world, but I forgot to put in celery. So make sure you got celery in your juice broth. I mean, vegetable broth. It's not juice, it's vegetable broth. Okay, so anyway, this is how you make the broth. It's going to be excellent. It's going to give you all of those minerals and nutrients that you're not going to be getting from the juices and the teas, and that is going to help you to extend your fast with comfort and ease. So thanks for watching today's video. We'll check in with you tomorrow.
Okay.